What's up guys, Nightingale here, and welcome back to the Ultimate Beginner's Handbook. Today, we're covering unlocking the Spirit Altar and Abyss. Now, this is one of the first videos where I was mentioning that things might start changing, so everything prior to this is correct and is as where it should be. Now, from here to basically until we get to episode 11010, some videos may come in here as things show up that I feel like you need to know. So the order may slightly be different than what you're seeing inside the playlist, just as a heads up if this happens to be the first video you click on. Now, next up, what we're going to be doing is always in the first minute of the video is giving you a quick overview of what is to come inside this video, and we've got a lot coming today. We're going to be going over Spirit Altar, we're going to be talking about Awakening, we're going to be talking about Abyss, and we're going to be covering Labyrinth. Now, I do want to note with Labyrinth that technically you unlocked this a little bit ago. This isn't directly related to just clearing chapter 1, episode 210. It's not related to that. What this is related to is I knew this would be a good spot to just go ahead and add this in because chances are this has only been a few minutes for you in playing the game. So let's go ahead and get it all wrapped up here. Next thing I want to mention is that always in the description below will be timestamps to all the major key points here. There may even be extra key points if I feel like there's something that you need to see that isn't just necessarily marked inside this. So make sure you keep an eye on the description for the timestamps so that you can come back and watch certain aspects of the video as many times as you need. So today we're going to jump over to the tutorial account for a few minutes, and we're going to start off with the Spirit Altar. So again, you just beat chapter 2 and now moving on to chapter 3, and Spirit Altar and Abyss have just unlocked as well as Awakening. So let's jump in and give you a brief overview of the Spirit Altar. Now, first off, I just want to go ahead and roast them a little bit for this because this is a quality of life change that needs to happen. The dumbest thing here is that these things are on a daily timer. Now, yes, while it makes you come back and play makes you come and have to play on very specific days, it is kind of annoying to have to deal with. This could be quite simply changed of just making them open at all times and being able to farm whenever. But nope, they like their rotations and stuff like that. Now that's cool. Now, here's how this works. They rotates on a daily timer. So it starts on Monday and goes till Friday. Saturday and Sunday, everything is open. So you'll have to time accordingly to when you want to grind, especially early on, you will want to grind these as you need them. So today what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and jump in to Spirit Altar here for just a second, and what we want to do is show you basically how things work. So when you jump in, you will see that you have to clear things in an order. You have to go through, and a lot of the content here, you'll have to progressively beat it in order to unlock it. You just can't go straight to the final stage, which is fine. In this case, your units will be able to carry things very, very, very easily along the way. So what we'll do is we're going to jump in here into normal and actually beat this one with our current team. So we're just going to click on this. It's going to cost us 10 energy per run. We have a chance of getting greater runes, and we're also going to be getting the normal flame runes here. Now, just something to point out, because it will matter along the way, but do note this, that in my case, Arya is type advantage here, and Iceria is type disadvantage, where Dark Corvus and Tieria are type neutral. So Iceria might get clapped later on down the road the higher you go into this, especially with having very little to no gear right now in this stage. I believe with where Dark Corvus is at, I should be able to go through this. Yeah, Tieria is showing me right there that I think we can clear this. Now, Arya's got a special mechanic here, which is going to protect us, which is why I also knew we could get away with this. But the generic stuff here is, this is just going to take some time in order to farm this stuff out. It's just annoying. Some of these things will take you a while, especially early on, and the drop rates are kind of bad, which we'll cover here in just a second on really... Well, actually, you know what? We can just go ahead and do it now, while we're waiting for this to go ahead and clear, because this is going to take a few minutes. So when to farm? When to farm specifically is going to be this. You will need to farm, obviously, if you're going to be working on ice units, you need to farm it on ice day or on the weekend when all the altars are available. The next kind of point of when to farm is really once a month there is a buff that comes around. and it is the buff weekend. It's something that most of us all look forward to because of the buffs. There's a buff for the Spirit Altar, there's a buff for Adventure, there's a buff for Hunts, and there's a buff for all day. For a buff specifically for one day that has all buffs activated. Now that is going to be arguably the most important day, is the all buff day, because that's where you're going to cover a lot of ground, especially if you weren't able to do certain things on certain days. Most of us, when it comes to Spirit Altar, either will farm just the bare minimum that we need to survive on, specifically if it's a new unit or something that we're trying to get, or if it's for a daily donation, because we normally say Rune of the Day when we're doing our donations. So we try to get those donated off at that point, so that you might run a run if you happen to be empty. But normally, when it comes to grinding runes, we wait for the altar buff day because it is literally double the efficiency. All right, so you can see we got the normal flame runes here in this run, which is kind of sad because this is actually kind of feels like a waste of energy, but it's not. It's you need to do it, but it hurts when you don't get the next highest stage. Which actually comes to the next point of what is the best farming practices. And actually, here's how this goes. There only should really be 2 stages here. Personally, I think this is garbage that there are 4 stages, but heck, they want to do this so to make it progressively more difficult. All right, well, here's how you do this. Once you get a little more established in the game, you're only gonna farm 2 modes. In the beginning, you're gonna farm the easy mode only for the small normal runes. When you get later on in the game, you're only gonna farm the hell mode because you want the highest chance at the epic runes, and you're gonna have a great source of, a great collection of the greater runes in this case. You will typically skip straight over normal and hard difficulty, but yes, you will have to work your way up to it. You're not gonna have the gear instantaneously just to go straight from easy to hell, but it is a process that you will need to be working towards. And I promise you, by the time it really, really matters, when you're really gonna have to go after a lot of this stuff, you'll have gear a little bit better to be able to go through and clear this at a lot easier pace. Now, that being said, there are some that are just annoying and they take a very long time. Well, this one does, and this one does. These both are quite annoying. And honestly, I know a lot of people kind of get upset about this one because of a healing mechanic. Now, we're not gonna talk about how to actually clear every single one of these things. It really just comes down to just face tank it and DPS race it. That's all this really comes down to. There's no special comps, there's no one-shot things. Sure, it could probably you could probably come up with something, but honestly, there's no point in actually doing that. You just literally spank and tank. That's really what this is. So as far as altar, the last thing again I just want to reiterate is don't try to farm this early on in the game, because you aren't going to have a buff available right now, and getting these runes is going to be painful because especially when it comes to the epic runes, it's going to hurt. It's going to be a lot of energy investment to fully max out a unit, but don't let that stress you out. Now, the next thing we want to talk about is we've got these runes. Now what are we gonna do with them? Well, let's come over here to, say, I think Arya should have some runes. So here we go. We actually haven't been into this screen yet, so let's go ahead and skip the tutorial because I know what I'm doing, but you might want to go ahead and look over that. So here's how this works. Each character has an astrological sign. Now, what this means is this is gonna tie it to a epic catalyst, a special awakening catalyst, or a rare awakening catalyst, and it's going to tie it to a skill catalyst. Now, I'm going to go over catalyst in a future video after we get through beating the first episode. I will give you a catalyst 101 at that point, where this will go into more in depth. But basically, the astrological signs are going to determine specific stats that are added inside this. Now, there's supposedly a rework coming this year of 2022, so we'll see, but supposedly they're going to be doing a little bit of a revamp, fixing some of these units that really have bad astrological signs, and they're going to fix some of that. But what we're here to do is talk about Awakening. So there are 6 Awakening nodes, and that is for the 6 stars that your hero can get. I do this every time. every single time. You can come hang out with me on stream and you'll see me do this all the time. Now, what we're gonna do is we are going to awaken Arya right here on the spot. So you can see her first stat is effect resistance. Now, in the grand scheme of things, this isn't the greatest stats in the world, but here's basically how you want to do this. You will want to progress your units, and I mean all your units as you are using them, to at least their 3rd awakening. And why is for this reason right here. You can see that their skills are slightly different. So in this case, the big thing here is the barrier to all allies gets added in. So it will grant stealth and a barrier to all allies for the except for the caster for 2 turns. Barrier strength increased proportional to the caster's defense. This is why Arya isn't the greatest unit for you to start out with, because she is a defense-based unit, but I knew this going into it because I also know that there are going to be some things that I probably will be able to make happen along the way. So you'll want to work your way, and at least for your main core team, and specifically speaking, so if we're going to look at my team, the big units that you're going to want to work towards is your Moonlight Blessing. Go ahead and get that at least to 3-star when it's possible. In the case of Free Spirit Tieria, in order to continue on her path, you will need to do, at least I think it's up to her 2nd star. We should actually see the, if this is correct, I believe it is, the 2nd star will pop up her mission right here. So there you go. Free Spirit Tieria, Beautiful Pursuer. There we go. And what this is doing is this is adding stats to your units. So this is a really great thing that helps you change your builds up. Now, later on in game, you don't even think about the unit unless it's 6-star Awaken in terms of stats, because you're gonna need every little bit to help maximize your gear, which is something we'll cover later, but right now, this is just bonus stats because you're not gonna have a lot of gear. So this is a very good source of getting stats to help you out. Now, in the case of Free Spirit Tieria, I happen to pop the the day, I think this is the day 3 login reward here. I just popped it on her because I knew she's going to be my AoE farmer. Arya doesn't benefit from attack, so there was no point in me putting that on her. She's actually Dark Corvus is going to get the HP set when we unlock it. Now, what we want to go over is, as far as the best practices here, it's really this. So early on, it's very expensive for you to awaken units. So if we go back in here, here's what you want to do. Early on, you want to at least try to get to the 4th star. And how you'll know it's the 4th star is there will be a greater and an epic rune cost here. The 5th star will always cost the rare catalyst, and the 6th star will always cost the epic catalyst. So in this case, you always want to push at least to the 4th star early on, because this is fairly cheap to actually do. While it may not seem like it's super cheap, it actually, this in the long run, getting 4-star Awakens is very, very easy. Your next big grind will eventually be getting the catalyst to take them to the 5th star, and some units you won't, early on, you won't go past the 4th star. So those are like the general practices when it comes to awakening. Next up, let's cover Abyss. So inside of Abyss, this is going to be one of the major sources of PvE content, and probably this is where you're gonna go great early. Now, early on, these floors are gonna be insanely easy, as we're gonna jump in and just prove just this. So we're gonna do floor 1 right here while we talk about Abyss and some of its practices. Now, we're gonna actually just go ahead and tie this into the early progression and daily practice. So these keys reset daily, so you will wanna make sure that you're constantly coming in here in the early aspects and take a few minutes and try to clear as many stages as possible. So we're gonna come in and click in, and we're gonna start this fight. Now, I believe in my units so well, I'm just gonna leave it in on auto, because they are amazing. No, it's literally, these fights are that easy, and there you go, my Tieria one-shot it. Now, not every stage is gonna be this easy or this hard. I bet you while I'm still talking, I can beat floor 2, because we still got a few things we wanna cover here. Now, the next thing that we wanna mention about Abyss is that this is repeatable content, but there's no point in going back and beating it other than to say, I did. Abyss currently, as of May the 10th, has 120 floors currently that you can beat. Now, there are benchmarks where things are gonna start getting significantly more difficult as you go down. So remember that this is not content that you have to stress about. Now, the next thing we wanna mention is this. So let's say I can't beat floor 3. For whatever reason, I can't do it. My units aren't good enough. Well, here's what you do for the next few days, which is completely fine and totally acceptable. There is a purify button right here. And what you will want to do is, if you can't beat it, you will want to click this, and it's going to give you the rewards, a reward based off of this, based off of the floors you have cleared. Now, in the case of where I know my account's at, I can easily beat floor 3 today. But let's say you get further down in the grind, that button will be your best friend, and it's okay that you may spend a week, 2 weeks, or even a month clicking that button because you can't progress. You may be gear locked, you may be unit locked, you may have, it may just be the strategy. It might actually be 15%. That epic 15% in this game is gonna drive you mad. You will go gray because of some of this stuff later on. But in the case for me today, I will do the other floor off video, but I just wanted to show you that go through the basic things here. So this is gonna be a daily thing that you will wanna check into. These keys are, as you can see, there's a cooldown for it, and they all will recharge at once. So next up, let's talk about the next daily grind, which is Labyrinth. So Labyrinth, again, unlocked a little bit earlier than this chapter 2. But again, I wanted to cover it here because I knew we'd be covering Abyss. So here is your next daily grind. Once you've done your 3 daily Abyss keys, now you're gonna come over and you now have Labyrinth keys to spend. So in this case, what you need to do is not worrying about Labyrinth in the early on. Labyrinth has many different things to do. So what you're gonna wanna work on is getting the first one cleared. You will want to get the second one cleared as far as you can, but your goal is to aim to this, which we will talk about in a second, and eventually you'll get to raid. But for today, what you wanna do is, your goal is you're wanting to get as far as you possibly can in here, because something's gonna show up in the next video. Actually, we can cover this in this video today. So I already know how to do this. But what you're gonna end up doing for every day from here on out, for as long as you play the game, you're gonna come in here and do this. Now, I'm gonna have a separate video on this, don't worry. I will recover the special shops inside of Epic 7, but you'll wanna do this daily. Once you have beat this properly, you will teleport to this node up here, and you're gonna take the first, you're gonna take a left, and you're gonna go to the first shop, and you're gonna see our little favorite little merchant, Huchee. And you're gonna do this every single day that you play this. You're gonna go buy all of his good stuff, which we'll try to make it there in just a few minutes. I may end up just cutting, because I think I can make it there. This should have enough morale being 50 that I can make it there. But what we're gonna do is we are going to skip through all of this fighting stuff, and you guys will come back when I reach the end. But basically, what we wanna just cover though, while we're waiting for that, is this. Labyrinth is something that you will want to do daily. And this is a very, 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 very long process. It will take you several days of, even maybe, I would almost say 2 months to probably do this. So your first 60, 90 days is going to be quite tied up with all of this Labyrinth before you'll ever get onto other things like raid and stuff like that. But as you can see, the fights aren't hard. Tierria with the bare minimum gear is absolutely wiping the floor here, which is good. That's fine. As long as that's the case, actually I think there's a chest in here. Yep, gold. And there we go, 30 free sky stones for doing absolutely nothing. Gotta love it. But yes, you will want to make sure that you eventually come back and 100% every single one of these. But for the case of the video, we don't actually need to 100% this. And as well as for the sake of efficiency, we don't need to completely get these things 100% because we've got a lot of space to cover, and we're going to talk about that next when we talk about Nixied Sanctum. So I'm going to meet you guys up at the Huchee shop. Okay, just real quick, I want to come back because we're almost there, but I wanted to point this out. So if you haven't seen this yet inside of the Labyrinth-based stuff, is you will want to be slightly concerned with your morale. Now in this case, I'm pretty sure that these things are weak enough and that I have enough awesomeness baked into my units that I should be able to still continue on. But you will want to be concerned with morale later on, especially the further you go in here, because this will determine how far you can go. Now, we don't have access to camping yet. We don't have a crossroad that we can do this at. Also, there's a treasure chest here. But I just wanted to point this out that there is a... oh, hey, we got Covenant bookmark. But I wanted to point this out because I don't know if you guys have experienced it yet, and it's part of the Labyrinth system, which is... This will determine a lot of how far you can go into it. And yes, there will be things where we'll talk about morale and all that stuff later on, but I just want to let you know that that is important when you do see this. All right, here we go. We have reached Huchee. So this is the merchant you will visit now every single day in this specific stage. So what does Huchee offer us today for the video? All right, not bad at all. So here's what Huchee can offer you. As you can see, we've got we've got charms right here. We've got a lesser weapon charm. This is a buy. You always will buy this. You will always buy the boot charms. You will buy any of the charms that he offers. He's also offering greater, and he will also offer epic charms. Now, a couple other things he can offer are bookmarks. That's right, he can offer you Covenant bookmarks, and he can offer you Mystic Medals, which is really good. Not only that, he can also offer you artifact charms, which is a very high value buy here. This will be another source of obtaining these, and he can also give you all three rarities. He can give you the gray rarity, he can give you the blackish purplish rarity, and he can give you the red rarity. So you want to make sure you check this out every single day. What not to buy are friendship bookmarks. You don't buy the artifacts down here. They are all garbage. The other thing I want to say is just to reiterate, buy the bookmarks when they show up. When they show up, the Covenant and the Mystic Medals here, buy them at all times. The next thing that he can also drop is Catalyst. Yes, he can drop rare and epic Catalyst inside of this. Now, this will be a little bit more expensive for you, but yes, he can drop them here. So make sure every day you come in and before you clear this, that you come here and visit Huchee before you start doing anything with your keys. Now, what our goal is we need to come here to this little node right here. So we're gonna keep traveling east. Now, there's only one fight we have to worry about, which is why this path is the most efficient. So we're gonna let them clean things up here. Enjoy the animations of Arya. She's cool, but she's gonna do no damage to these guys. Oh wow, she actually did a lot more damage than I thought she would. So there you go. Once we've reached this, we are done, and this will be where you will teleport now every single day. You will start by teleporting up here, and then you'll take to the west, take that one fight we just had, and you will be in Huchee's shop, and once you are done visiting this, you will click yield or try again. Doesn't matter which one you hit. But if for the first time, you need to go through this portal. Don't back out because you want to save what you've just done. From here on out, this is now fully unlocked. So the next time, if you're going to 100% this, you will start here and you can either teleport directly up here and work your way around to go this way, or if you went this way, you can go here and actually, no, you can't. You have to beat this. You do have to go this way. So now, yes, you would come in for the next day, check, and now you want to finish this out. So there you go. And also you're able to see all the rewards that you got inside this. So we also got the 30 Sky Stones. We've got ancient coins, which is the main currency of Labyrinth, and this is also why this is important. Ancient coins are what you're going to use as a currency to level up your accessories later on down the road. And let's be real, the gear you're going to get here is trash.
Congratulations.
So there you go. We are ranking up. We are continuing on the grind. And we did not confront Aether, which is fine. That's another fight. You will get that in another area. And there you go. Now, I have used one of my 3 keys for today. Now remember, These reset 1 key per day. You can only store up to a maximum of 3 keys. So this is 3 days worth of progress you have initially starting. There are ways of extending extra keys, so keep that in mind that the guild has 1 extra key. So you should always be keeping a total of, you will be able to have a max of 3 days, and then you should be able to reset immediately and get another day. And then that will be every week, you'll be able to get that 1 extra free day. Eventually, when we get to Rage, you'll be spending 2 keys per day, but that's for a later day. Now, the next thing we want to bring up is the how to progress and the road to Nixied 5. So in this case, what you want to do is move on and progress further and further and further as you can in here. You'll eventually need to beat certain things, and you'll see these achievements as you go along. But don't worry about if it's not available the next day. Some things are tied into beating stages. So as you're progressing through the initial, going to episode 1, 10, 10, things are going to unlock more stages will unlock, and you'll be going through and progressing through each one of these. Now, as soon as you can get this unlocked, this will be where you will start bum rushing this. The reason being is that there is a set in here that you're going to want to use in your early game progression. The Nixied 5 destruction set is what a lot of new players use early on to gear some of their DPS for Wyvern. It's typically a pretty good set. It can be a little bit trolly. I've seen them roll a lot of HP. Hopefully for you, they roll insanely well. I really am hoping that for you guys. So that's going to be your goal, is to try to progress these as efficiently as possible to get into Nixied 5. So that's going to cover the overall of basically now that you have reached episode 1, chapter 2, 10, you're now moving on to episode 3. So from here on out, again, we'll pop in as soon as something else very important opens up that you need to start working on in your daily grind. We're going to get that put into the handbook at the right time. But we've got a lot of good stuff coming up. We're about to start teaching you about gearing and understanding the basics of gear. We're not going to take it too over your head. We'll be getting pets when we get up to level 25. I'm starting on the grind, as you see, to head towards that. So we've got a lot of cool stuff coming, and I'm looking forward to helping you guys out. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up inside the comments below. I'm always happy to help and try to do what I can where I can. Also, don't forget that right now it's first come, first serve to anybody here on Global. We've got a couple members right here. If you happen to watch the videos, you have access to getting in. So as the guild levels up, right now only 16 members can be in here, but as it levels up, more and more players will be able to join up to a max of 30. So first come, first serve to you guys. I hope to see you all here. And I can't wait. So you guys take care, and we'll see you in the next one.